You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 207. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jeff Barnhart, Lady Cop.
This episode is a special bonus this week. We ran a little long on our previous episode, and we were only halfway through the books, so yay you! Comic Reflections is brought to you by the Outhousers. You can find this show and many cool articles about nerd culture and stuff. And if you enjoy our show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. So the first of two issues we're going to talk about on this mini-sode, or whatever, is Action Comics number 381. It's the October of 1969 issue. And the lead story is called The Dictator of Earth, written by Leo Dorfman, penciled by Curt Swan, and inked by George Roussos. I wonder if it's Rousseau. It's not credited there, but it's Roussos.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I've been saying Roussos forever, but I've never heard anyone else say it, so I don't know. Anyway.
All right.
Superman!
Yeah. I wonder if this is was it Super Dickery, or is it...
Oh, I know. There's a blog of like examples of Superman just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was delightful.
Yeah.
But he may have topped himself here. He tears down the Statue of Liberty, puts a statue to himself.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, who's gonna stop you?
Yeah, he's going crazy. So he thinks about using the gold kryptonite, which will
Take away his powers.
Forever.
And
so he gets mad and just slams the door to the
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. And he goes and he knocks down all the flags at the UN building and makes one big flag with a Superman flag on it. One big pole with a Superman flag on it.
Yeah, he weaves them all together and makes his own boss flag.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do that too. So,
yeah.
And everyone's really mad.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? It's Superman.
Mm-hmm. So we find out that there's some bad guys here. And one of them is a girl. It's a Superman. What is it? The Superman Revenge Squad.
Yeah. And what is they tricked Superman. I think they exposed him to red kryptonite.
They put that in Telstar, which was one of the first man-made satellites that people bounce. You bounce waves off and watch TV and from Hawaii and all that stuff. It was a big thing. So.
And it's a cool song.
Yes, it is.
The Shadows do a really great cover of it. They're not the originals. I looked it up the other day. But yeah.
So Superman puts his face on an Assyrian, what are those griffins?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But everyone's real concerned, so they're going to arrest him. So he,
excuse me.
he mints his own coins with his face on it.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. Then he checks out and he finds out that sees that the Superman Hate Squad, or
Revenge Squad.
Wow. Is at the Fortress of Solitude. He goes there and he captures them, and he's what he did was he saw that the Telstar satellite had red kryptonite and was beaming stuff down and giving him headaches and making him feel bad.
Yeah.
So he covered the lead, and then the rest of the stuff was just fake.
So he just did all that stuff just cause to lead them on the wild goose chase.
Yeah.
I wonder, when Superman is exposed to Red K and does horrible, bad things. How come the world doesn't remember that and there isn't an existing faction of or feeling of resentment towards Superman or fear and mistrust because he's on our side until somebody exposes him to red kryptonite again.
Now he does so much.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if a policeman solves 100 crimes and then he shoots the wrong guy, and then he's sent to prison or whatever, or kicked out. But Superman, he's going to say boo to him.
Yeah.
So,
Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
So the eggs all over the face of the Superman Revenge Squad.
They're sent back, and they're going to. The penalty for failure of mission is lifelong slavery.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
So he. Wow.
Yeah, but you don't even see. You only see them one time.
Yeah, they're just kind of glimpses of them, and oddly, the Superman Revenge Squad, they look human, and they're wearing Superman costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So usually the Revenge Squad members are all like aliens, and they look, weird.
Yeah, but it's a good-looking gal, from what I can see, and a guy with blonde hair, and that's it.
And we have no reason why these particular Revenge Squad members hate Superman. There's no reference to a previous encounter.
Yeah, I like
that
people talking about. I mean, I like the villains talking amongst themselves sometimes.
And why they're doing it is so I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, what, you can't have everything, I guess.
Oh, you see this house ad for The Secret Lives of Joe Kubert.
Yeah, and it's from DC Special. I can't remember what number. I can't see, but it's highlighting a lot of his Golden Age work, like on Johnny Quick and Seven Soldiers of Victory and things like that. So right on.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we've got a backup story with the Legion of Superheroes.
Yay.
Yeah, and this story is called The Hapless Hero, written by Jim Shooter, who years later, Jim Shooter really made the Legion into a popular thing. And then years later, for about a decade, he was the editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics. So a very controversial figure. But anyway, yeah. But that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Oh, okay.
Penciled by Win Mortimer and inked by Jack Abel. And this story is really centered around Matter Eater Lad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably the second least superpower I would like to have in the Legion.
Which is the other one?
What do you think? Bouncing Boy.
He's invulnerable, right?
I don't care.
Okay.
I mean...
Because that's a great power to have. Invulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to bounce around? No.
And inflate?
I have some dignity.
Do you? No. Where do you keep it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I always think, Matter Eater Lad, it's so weird that he's in the Legion and not in the subs.
Yeah.
He must be the hero to the subs because, it's a weird power and not all that useful. But he can eat his way out of they're trapped somewhere or something.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I guess they get in traps all the time.
So, I guess having him around if you get into scrapes is pretty good.
Is there an antimatter lad eating matter? Antimatter eating lad?
Someone who eats antimatter, or just there is an evil counterpart to him? Not that I can think of, but that's not to say that there isn't.
It probably is. But,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So what's going on?
Matter Eating Lad is poor, and he doesn't want the rest of his gang,
the Legion,
to find out about it. So, he takes him somewhere?
Move your arm.
Let's see. Chemical? What's Chameleon or
Chemical King?
Chemical King.
And by the way, other Legionnaires that appear in this story include Ultra Boy, Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, Phantom Girl, Karate Kid, and Brainiac 5. Okay. And Shrinking Violet.
Right.
She's very important to this story. So Matter Eater Lad is all sad after he gets a lift home from Chemical King, who's got a boss ride.
Yeah.
He goes to his folks, who he's basically supporting on his meager Legion earnings.
Yeah. His father is a gambler.
Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
No.
He doesn't know when to hold him.
Yeah.
And
or when to fold him. Yeah.
And his mother is too nervous to get a job. And the house is all cracked up. And so Matter Eater Lad leaves, and he goes back to the Legionnaire. What do they call this?
The Legion HQ.
Legion HQ.
Or the Legion Club, or the Legion Clubhouse.
Yeah. And there is
Shrinking Violet.
And she's all sad because she was supposed to go on a date tonight, And
Duplicate Lad, who is a member of the Heroes of Lalor, another on a planet Lalor. That's a team of heroes over there. So he was supposed to come and go take her on a date, and he can duplicate anybody's power. So he's, a big deal. But he didn't show up or whatever, and so Matter Eater Lad says, "Well, I'll take him." Yeah. Tenzel Kim is better. Matter Eater Lad. Tenzel Kim.
Tenzel Kim. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think we see Princess Projectra also in this too.
Right.
Because as Violet, he cheers up Violet, says, "Oh, I'll take you out, and we'll go have a good time." And Violet gets all dolled up and dressed up, and Princess Projectra helps her.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. And
that's nice that I love that there's all the friendships in the Legion. They really play that angle up. You don't see that in the Justice League. Because they're into the romances and the friendships in this, and the League is like, well, we'll just get together when there's super villainy afoot.
Yeah, yeah, sometimes it's nice to see superheroes with their hair down and bending their elbow at a bar, doing regular stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest appeals of the Legion is like, oh, they're real people with real lives and foibles and insecurities and that's night and day from the League. It's so, in a way, it's very Marvel comics.
It kind of is. Yeah.
I mean, people have said, oh, the Teen Titans are the DC equivalent to Marvel's X-Men. It's not true. It's really the Legion. So,
yeah, and everything looks cool. I like their future. I wish
it's very a George Jetson future, but it's good. Yeah. So Matter Eater Lad takes Violet out to dinner. He
spends all of his money.
Yeah,
and gets this really cool car with a robot chauffeur and an expensive meal that's cooked by a human chef and not a robot.
Wow.
Yeah, Nectar of Venus.
That's how I have all my meals.
Yeah. Yeah. So they dance in a gravity-free ballroom.
Wow.
And then, uh-oh.
Duplicate Lad shows up, and he's looking to fight. How dare you make time with my girl? And he's like, look, I can mop the floor with you, Matter Eater Lad. So, and Matter Eater Lad's like, yeah, you could. But you know what? You'd be a jerk.
Yep. Fighting won't settle a blessed thing, which never stopped any comic book hero.
Right, which is kind of weird. But yeah, he realizes he was a jerk for kind of like brushing off treating Violet, and they make up. And Matter Eater Lad is just the stand-up guy who blew his whole paycheck.
Yeah. And everything's kind of cool. Now, so later on, the next day, Matter Eating Lad gets a letter from his parents.
Delivered by Brainiac 5.
Right. And they're still using letters.
Yeah.
We don't have letters now.
I know. But who was to say that they wouldn't use paper letters? It's 1969. And who could have foreseen email and texting?
People did. I'm sure Heinlein did. But but I don't know.
But I guess I guess Jim Shooter didn't.
Yeah, but then again, if they had an email, they'd have to explain what the email was, and it's a whole lot easier. Here's a letter. Everybody knows what a letter is.
Exactly, and you can just go. So
yeah,
but that's a pretty nice story.
Yeah. Oh, his father gives up gambling, and his mother's going to work, so everything's happy.
Yeah. But he's still broke, so he's going to have to crash at Legion HQ for a while. Yeah. So the next book we've got to talk about is really one of the biggest oddballs of the 70s. People talk about this, and it's such a strange issue. It's first issue special number 4 from July of 1975. And it's the infamous Lady Cop, written by Robert Kanigher. Of Sergeant Rock and Wonder Woman and many others, with art penciled by John Rosenberger and inked by Vince Colletta.
This looks like a crime romance comic.
Yeah, they're trying to blend that, and it's a weird genre combination. This is a one-shot. This character did not appear again until sometime in the early 2000s.
Really?
And just as a minor supporting character.
I wouldn't mind reading the second one. I thought it was interesting. There's some problems with it, and we'll go there.
Okay.
We would begin with the perspective of a young girl underneath the bed and this guy in cowboy boots with this weird death's head on his tassel on his boots, which I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Which I kind of want now. But she sees him killing 2 women.
2 roommates of hers. And then leaving the ace of spades on their corpses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So...
and then the cops show up and photograph the dead bodies and question the girl in the same room. They don't take her off somewhere.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. Don't step on the dead broad here. Watch out.
So there's a nice lady cop who interviews her and tells her, hey, you got a keen mind after, getting her statement.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should become a cop.
Yeah.
And so she does, and she dreams of finding the killer in boots.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes to police academy with Sergeant Mahoney, Hightower, and the gang.
That movie was actually fun, the first one anyway. But
I liked most of them.
Actually, they got less and less good. But
do you know the guy that played Tackleberry is dead?
Which one's that?
Tackleberry he was kind of like a farm boy, white, and they made a big deal because he was still a virgin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Hightower was played by an ex-ball player, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow sports balls, so...
No. Sports ball. Make Jeff laugh.
Good.
So she's taking these courses.
Yes, Liza. Liza is our character.
Yeah.
Can't remember her last name.
Oh, I just saw it. Warner.
Liza Warner, that's right.
So she's taught to how to shoot and to use judo, and on the firing range says stop, not kill. No, when you shoot somebody, you need to kill them. You don't wound them.
Yeah.
Wounding is foolish, as it can enrage the person.
Yeah.
Or give them time to kill you.
Yeah. I learned that from the older brother in the movie Phantasm.
Oh.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
You need to. It's rad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know what it is. And so she does well, and she's graduating, and this guy who
flunked out
has a grenade, and he's going to blow up everybody.
And then he's at the graduation. And so she tackles him and throws the grenade in a trash can and saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets her graduation, whatever, and a handshake from the police commissioner or commandant or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She is quite fetching in her cop outfit. So. Okay. Wow, the first one. Poison Love. It looks like a romance.
So she stops an attempted rape on a rooftop of an underage girl. And they say that. This isn't the jungle. And plus that girl's underage.
Right.
So these 2 guys are trying to have their way with this teenage girl. And so she fends them off. And they grab the lady cop and steal a kiss.
Yeah, I think they're wanting something else.
Yeah.
And
she kicks him in the balls.
Does she?
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
No, it looks like she kicked him in the knee.
Okay, but it's funnier if she knees him in the groin.
It would be, but they're not going to do that at this time.
Okay.
So they're those guys are mad. They vow vengeance. Yeah, you can't bust me up for kissing a cop. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I think you can. So Liza buys ice cream for a sad black girl who doesn't have any money.
Yeah. How does she know she liked chocolate, though?
I'm not...
Yeah, but apparently she did. So
okay.
Most kids like chocolate ice cream. I know I do. So
unless they're commies.
Yeah. I'll try anything, but... I've eaten jellyfish, you're crying out loud.
Have you?
And turtle, snapping turtle, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll try anything once, sometimes twice.
Didn't you have that crazy uncle who would catch the snapping turtles?
Yeah, turtles. Yeah. We had the snapping turtle. We'd drive down the road, and here's a snapping turtle on the road, he comes out, picks it up by the tail, and gives it to me. I'm about 10 years old. I'm supposed to hold the most ugliest creature on God's green earth. And they just look like dinosaurs. And not good ones either. And they're just nasty looking. And their teeth or their beak can chop off your finger.
Yeah.
And so I was holding this while he's going. So because he likes these turtles and he likes making turtle stew, and it's just grizzly chicken. It's just I was not impressed.
So this was in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
God. Uncle Dink.
Who was not actually your uncle.
No, didn't you have friends? Your friends,
but
this
I
is
think
your Uncle Joe. What is it? So,
he visits mother while I'm at work.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, here's a Dink story. Dink is getting out of his truck, and a bunch of roughnecks come by. Hey, Dink, look at this, and they got this 22 rifle.
Yeah.
And it's a dance, and Dink is a very fat guy.
Okay.
And they shoot at his feet.
Whoa.
And he's dancing like crazy, and then they start laughing. Oh, it's all blanks.
I would have a heart attack if somebody did that to me.
Yeah, and I never saw him without overalls on.
Okay.
So Dink, being a farmer,
did he call them overhauls? Like
overalls?
Well, like remember how Jerry Clower would call them overhauls?
No, he didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
But so Dink got mad, so he reached in the back of the back seat of his truck, and he brings out a 22 with live bullets and makes them dance.
That is great.
And dance, Dink, dance. Oh man! Oh great. Okay.
That is a great story.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I wish I was there to see it.
Yeah.
Man, that is not a cool thing to pretend to shoot at somebody.
No. So the rooftop rapers come after Liza.
Yeah. All right. Liza is walking down the street, and there's a phone booth.
And she sees,
you never see now.
Yeah.
But,
she sees the girl who she rescued from the rapists, or would-be rapists, talking to her boyfriend, and find out that she has VD.
Well, he has VD, so she must have VD.
Because, stuff.
Yeah. Oh, explain.
Okay.
No. Okay, so there's a robbery right there, and then someone stabbed, and she beats up the perpetrator. And the store owner is injured and about to die, so she does
Mouth to mouth. Oh no, these are different bad guys. It wasn't the rooftop guys because they got arrested.
Mm-hmm. So she saves his life. She wants, and
then she gets off duty, and she goes to hang out with her boyfriend.
Yeah, her boyfriend does not like her being a
cop.
Yeah, because people making fun of her and all that, and
of him.
Of him, yeah.
Yeah, and they're at the beach lounging, and they're explaining, and they're making out, of course. But this reminds me of like what happened to John Agar.
Yeah.
Mr. Shirley Temple.
Right.
He hated that, and I think it was a big cause of resentment for him. And there, of course, they divorced, and he became an alcoholic. And he's in a lot of and really enjoyable science fiction movies, and of course, he's in some good ones like
Fort Apache.
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
And there's like a World War II movie also he's into. I think it's another John Ford one.
I'm not sure, but yeah, it's like Shirley Temple was the biggest star of her time.
Yeah, and
the biggest moneymaker.
Yeah, and the guy who was a minor known actor at the time who married her, it was a big deal. And of course, Mr. Shirley Temple, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But it ate at him. And he could never match her success.
Right.
Even though, it wasn't necessarily her like dream to be an actress. Just because when she remarried to whoever the last name Black was.
Yeah.
She gave up acting fairly young.
Well, when she turned into an adolescent.
It ended. Yeah. So. But John Agar, love that guy, and I enjoy him in the movies quite a bit. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cops have a hard time with regular people because regular people don't treat them like regular people.
Sure.
And they're afraid to say something. They'll arrest them and all that. I knew I was an adult when I learned to like cops, and it was like, oh no, here comes the cops. 2. Oh, great! The police are here. So and then
right.
I don't like seeing them in my rearview mirror, but
Right.
when I worked at my old library, yay, the police are here, great, because something bad's happening and they don't take care of it,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna die. Or
At your old library, wasn't there a patron who turned out to be a serial killer?
No, he wasn't. No, he was
A murderer, though.
no, he was a friend of mine's friend. So
Oh.
I broke bread. I mean, he didn't. He may have gone in the library once or twice, but he
Oh.
wasn't a regular. So, we did have one library guy commit suicide. We had a bunch of sexual offenders there. And there's loads of fun in libraries. Be careful.
So what's happening with Liza?
Okay, so she sees.
Back on duty.
Yeah, she's back on duty. She sees the.
VD girl.
Yeah, okay. And she's talking to her, and her mother's dead, and her father's really would be mad about it. And her father comes up and says, "Oh," and
her father's Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she tells her, like, you got to go to the doctor because unchecked VD can drive you insane and stuff.
Yeah. And he does look like Charles Bronson.
Yeah, I'm sure that was the intent. But anyway, she gets the girl to talk to her dad, and Dad's gonna take a swing at her, and Lady Cop stops him. But then talks to her and like, this is your daughter.
Yeah.
So he cools his jets, and they cry and stuff. And so
that's rather nice.
And then Lady Cop gets attacked by a mugger or somebody.
But no, by the same guy who's trying to kill her.
Oh, right.
Oh, actually, she put those guys in prison, and now he's a friend of them. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You're gonna wind up in the river for busting my pals. You chicken fuzz.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
There's an earlier scene where a perp tells her she should be sewing up a man's socks or cooking his dinner instead of being a cop.
Right.
I'm like, wow. But so anyway, she busts that guy too after beating him up, and then she's like, I wonder if I'll ever find the killer in boots. And I'm like, it might help if you looked for him.
Yeah, but that's gonna be hard to. She's a beat patrolman.
Okay.
What are they gonna do? Let's keep an eye out for it. There's a lot of tough talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't dig gorillas either. Yeah. My temperature is below freezing.
Yeah, and it's really funny that this was written by Robert Kanigher, who is just like renowned as like a complete a-hole. So I'm sure he was not really down with women's lib or feminism. Probably not at all. Even though it's funny because he wrote Wonder Woman for so many years.
Well, he may have been. I mean, you can be a jerkwad and treat people badly, and still be on the right side of things, or left side of things in this case. But it's a sort of your political views really don't matter if what you are. I mean,
I would think that oftentimes they do, but I get what you're saying. They don't necessarily dictate personality.
Much less than you would think. And a lot of people say they believe something, or maybe they actually do, but it kind of covers up from their evil. Hollywood actors, they're super rich, we're doing not much of anything, so they feel bad, so they try to protect the seals and all that stuff. And
sure.
Do they really care?
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Be nice. I mean, there's a lot of Hollywood actors who don't give a crap about anything. We're like, woohoo, I'm famous.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of honest. I mean,
would saving the seals be top priority for me? I'd be like, no. I'd be like, where are the chicks?
Yeah. For me too. But also by doing that, they get a tax write-off a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of times they're.
But I think there's guys like George Clooney or what's the name of the guy who plays the Hulk? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. Those guys are activists, and I think they genuinely really care, and I think they're neat guys. Also, back to this comic book. Have you ever read a comic that referenced VD?
That is something interesting.
Especially at this time. It's 1975.
Yeah, that's and it's VD. It's not a specific.
Right.
The clap or.
Right, but I mean, even I know the code relaxed a bit in 1971, but this even though they're not that specific, I mean, it's specific enough. Like, oh, sexual relations took place. So, I mean, there was an issue of Superman where, Clark Kent gave up being Superman. They split off or whatever. And there was an implied that he and Lois went to bed together. But, again, not overtly stated. So, I don't know. I don't know. Stuff. I mean, there was that issue of Conan we read where the girl's like gives him the look and it's like, oh, sex.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, BD, that's sort of not your
average.
Yeah. But this was fun. I wish they had done more of it. That's sort of. Then I kind of like romance comics, and I think they're trying too hard. Why is it so controversial?
Well, it's an oddity. Did I say controversial? I just meant
you acted like it's infamous or something.
It kind of is because it's this weird issue. A lot of people, like, I actually there was when we had a hiatus and you couldn't do some shows. I took issues that I had doubles of, and I did some fill-in issues with episodes with Spencer. We talked about this. He hated this.
Really?
Yeah. So, and a lot of people are just like, it's a weird comic, really, and it's very different. It's very unique. They never return to this concept again, but I don't know.
It's interesting that
I like it.
One. Isn't it rare that only do one of them for a major company? So
sure. One shots happen, and this series, first issue special, every issue was a different character or a group of characters and story thing, and it was a tryout book, but not really. So
yeah. I don't know. Is interestingly drawn. Too much tough talk, and and it's badly done. So okay, but very interesting, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, we'll see you in the funny pages.